Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm calling to order this regularly scheduled public comment meeting of Monday, January 10th, 2022 to order. We've had many requests from the public asking to be on the screen while we do public comments. I have granted that. And see how it goes this evening. I'm going to ask that everyone please put your phones on mute until your name is called from the list of speakers. We want to be mindful of everyone. So there again, I am please asking you to mute your phones. And now for some housekeeping rules. Public comment shall be conducted in accordance with the following procedures. Each person wishing to address the council or committee therefore shall, upon recognition by the presiding officer, give his or her name, address, and if he or she represents a group, shall in addition state for the record the name and address of said group or organization, and shall limit his or her remarks to 3 minutes, which this evening will be kept by Councilman Gale. And again, I want everyone to be mindful. This is a 3-minute speaking period when addressing the council body. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and not any individual member. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or who become boisterous while addressing the council shall be forthwith barred by the presiding officer from further audience at said meeting unless permission to remain is granted by a 2/3 votes of the council members present and voting. During public comment, there shall be no debate by the council. For members of the community, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcasted and recorded by Hartford Public Access Television and can be viewed by Hartford Public Access TV page, Comcast Xfinity Channel 96, hartfordpublicaccesstv.org, or Channel 6032 for Frontier customers. As always, Spanish interpretation is provided through the partnership with the City of Hartford and the Hartford Public Library. Additional accommodations can be made available while enough notice is sent to the council president's office. And I am just going to bring up my list of speakers tonight. And on the list, the first person to speak is Donna Swore. And before we start, I am asking that everyone please mute their phones. Leslie Hammond, I see that you're not muted on the screen. Could you please mute your phone? Donna Swore, you have the floor.
Good evening. I would like to speak about the budget for 2022-23. Every couple of years, PRAC is asked to provide a list of prioritized projects. This is a huge effort as it requires not only the friends groups reaching out to the community to provide input, updating those existing lists, but also to hold a special meeting as our monthly meetings are not working meetings. The process we have used is as follows. Each park provides a list of priorities. We look for synergies, such as sidewalks, as it will reduce overall cost, and then include the top 2 to 3 from each park, depending on how costly the items are. But this year, we need to address the issue of pools. They have not been well maintained. As a result, they are in need of repair. This is similar to the condition of our athletic fields. Without proper maintenance, the city will not gain the maximum benefit on our investments. I urge you not to approve partial repairs. We need the recommended repairs to be performed. We need lighting to allow for spring soccer, fall football, and soccer games to be played. Our turf fields should be used the most. The grass fields cannot take the amount of wear and tear they have been getting. Lighting the turf fields will allow for us to get the maximum use, as well as to ensure that our grass fields are not ruined. In 2016, the mayor proposed an austerity budget that severely reduced the DPW budget. Since then, we have had 5 DPW directors who have struggled to meet the needs of the city with the minimal budget increases provided each year. Complaints about bulky waste, litter, potholes, need for speed bumps, and new demands for safe street designs, as well as COVID measures, has been a constant struggle for DPW. Speaking specifically about parks, we need park rangers to ensure the safety of our residents, minimize vandalism and graffiti, manage homeless encampments, and ensure that the correct athletic fields are being used to protect them from overuse, as well as non-payments by non-residents. We need our fields to be maintained in line with the training the staff received. For example, different heights of grass and putting down the lines properly. You might think I'm getting too far down into the weeds, but they are a real problem. The infield is a labor-consuming activity that has not been properly or adequately attended to due to staffing shortages. Another issue is the misaligned pay scale for forestry workers. No one will consider working for the city when they can get a job in other towns or companies are paying more. It has been proven every single year since 2016 that hiring contractors to maintain our tree canopy is costing us more than if we had the workers on staff. Ask Human Resources to correct the pay scale to ensure that Hartford can attract workers for this much needed work, as well as increase the budget for DPW. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Next person to speak is Mark Anderson.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yes. Thank you for having me this evening. I reached out to this panel a little while back. I got an issue with a property that I have at 817 Albany Avenue in Hartford. I've been reaching out to different agencies trying to figure out what can be done. I got a facade grant/loan about 3-4 years ago. And I've been reaching out to Charles Matthews, which he still hasn't responded back to my email or my phone calls. So the reason why I'm actually bringing this up is because I've been reaching out to the person that facilitated the loan for my property. A new roof that I got is leaking. I had sent I think I sent either email or a video of the property. The panel said that they would reach out to me at the last meeting, and I didn't receive any call from anybody. Actually try to reach back to your office, I guess, but nobody follow up with my my calls. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything so I don't have to keep bringing this up or mention it. Is this the right body that I can reach out to try to navigate some type of step to get these issues that I'm having with this property resolved?
Well, Mr. Anderson, yes, you could reach out to council with any questions. David, if you could offline speak to Mr. Anderson tomorrow, and let's see if we could get him a meeting with our development department. Okay, we will follow up with you, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, if I may, I'm not sure how much time that I have, but I didn't get a follow up, and I appreciate that. Shut up, yo. I'm sorry. I'm having issue because my name was signed off that I released Marilyn Reese from doing any. I'm sorry, I lost the train of thought that I had. But my name was signed off that I released the contractor from any liability. And right now I owe a lot of tax on this particular property because it's 3 years past completion when the property was supposed to be finished. And I'm facing a lot of issue with taxes right now where, my property is in danger of a tax foreclosure. And this is not any fault of mine because the property was supposed to be finished 2018. And we still have ongoing issues. They took out my heating system when they did the facade. the plumbing broke, flooded the place. Nobody told me. I had to find that out months later. So I went down to talk to John Collins in license and inspection. He actually came out to the property, look at the property. He saw other issues that the inspector had missed and told me that he would reach back out to me and have something done. That fell on deaf ears. I've been reaching out constantly to his boss, which is Ms. Sinani, just trying to resolve some of the issue that I have. So I'm trying not to lose my property, and I appreciate that you'll have Mr. David reach out to me. And I just don't want this to fall on deaf ears because right now.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I will have David reach out to you tomorrow, and hopefully we could get you to the correct department that will be able to address those issues for you, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Next to speak is Vicki Gallen-Clark.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Council President, Majority Leader Clark, and the rest of the City Council. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. Last year, the Hartford City Council, this body right here, declared racism to be a public health crisis. Racism in 2022 is still here, obviously, along with the many inequities that goes along with racism. The resolution that was presented by Majority Leader Thomas J. Clark, and that is at the Planning, Economic and Development Committee, and hopefully will be brought back here for approval in February. We're asking the City Council to please approve and adopt that resolution. The resolution is actually aimed at addressing blighted and contaminated properties in North Hartford, where our children, seniors, and other individuals have to actually be around those properties. We're being proactive tonight and asking the council that when that resolution comes back to you in February, that you do adopt it so that we can really start comprehensively addressing the inequities in North Hartford that have been around for years. This would definitely be equity in action. Thank you, and we will talk again next month.
Thank you. Next to speak is Mr. Stan McCauley. Mr. McCauley, you're on mute.
There we go. There we go. Good evening, council members, Madam President. My name is Stan McCauley. I reside at 77 Wadsworth Street, Hartford, Connecticut. And I'm blessed to be able to follow Ms. Vicki Gallen-Clark because I was calling to support the resolution. So I won't go into detail again what she just got finished saying, but I'll simply say that I wholeheartedly support and endorse the resolution that they are trying to put forward for those blighted properties in Hartford. And with that, I bid you Happy New Year and good evening.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next to speak is Victoria Fennell.
Yes, good evening, Madam Council President, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to comment this evening, piggybacking off of Ms. Gallen-Clark's comments as well as Stan McCauley. As a longtime Blue Hills resident, I am supporting the resolution, but also want to go a little bit into detail. As a longtime Blue Hills resident, I drive by 80 Coventry Street, which is the old Bergdorf Clinic location, every day. The building is an eyesore. It's been allowed to deteriorate. And so I am in support in the renovation of this building by transforming it into a training and workforce development center that focuses on areas of healthcare, advanced manufacturing, information technology, and youth entrepreneurship. This initiative is a partnership with Capital Community College, Trinity Health of New England, Capital Workforce Partners, and CCAT, which is the Connecticut Center for Advanced Technology. I've heard many excuses about the building. Asbestos. Well, you know, many buildings and housing in Hartford have this due to age of the buildings and construction materials used at the time. We've heard that it's not being a priority for the city. Well, the project is a priority for our residents. And I don't like neighborhoods being pitted against each other for resources. That's not a good strategy. Quite honestly, I believe there is a disconnect here. So based on the feedback from the people in the Blue Hills neighborhood that I hear, this is something that is very important to them and they want it. The project would have economic benefits to what ails the city. As you all are well aware, Black and brown communities in our city have been greatly impacted by violence. And with this project, youth violence has the potential to be curbed, as we would get youth as well as adults prepared for jobs with training so that they can get good paying jobs in career fields that are needed. Healthcare, as you know, the pandemic has taught us about the need for healthcare workers. Manufacturing, advanced manufacturing is also hot. And also entrepreneurship, financial independence for individuals. And also let's put on our financial cap here. The city needs revenue and an empty building does nothing for the city's bottom line. So this would provide also revenue to the city. My understanding is that monies have been allocated by the state to the city's DSS department for environmental studies. We need you, our friends on the council, to push for the monies to be spent for this purpose so that the necessary work can begin for environmental studies, operating budget, etc. And I thank you again for the opportunity to speak, to address you all. Again, my name is Victoria Fennell, 21 Andover Street, Hartford, Connecticut, longtime Blue Hills resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak is Yvette Howard.
Good evening, members of the Court of Common Council. My name is Yvette Howard, and I reside at 296 Sargent Street in Hartford, Connecticut, 06105. On July 31st, 2016, at approximately 6:30 p.m., my granddaughter and I were severely injured in a police chase conducted by the Hartford Police Department. The accident took place on Blue Hills Avenue in Hartford, Connecticut. The car that the police were chasing hit my car head on, and my granddaughter and I were transported to St. Francis Hospital by ambulance. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and then I was transferred to a nursing home where I spent a month in rehab. My granddaughter went right into surgery to repair a femur that snapped in her leg and had to have a rod placed in her leg. At that time, she was 6 years old. This accident took place 5 years ago, and still she falls as a result from her injuries 5 years later. I am permanently
Miss Yvette Howard.
titanium plates to support my spine. I also had surgery on my left shoulder, which I have very limited use of as of today. As a result, I can never work again, and I suffer daily with the pain and trauma associated with this accident. The young man driving the car that hit us was killed instantly. This high-speed chase through a residential neighborhood placed myself, my husband, my granddaughter, and I in great danger, and the chase has never been called off by the police department. My granddaughter and I have lifelong injuries as a direct result from this high-speed chase in a residential neighborhood, and the city of Hartford has never paid a dime towards our physical injuries or our resulting trauma from the injuries that we suffered in this high-speed chase. I would like the Hartford Court of Common Council to vote to reopen this case and pay for the damages that my family has suffered. Please notify me as to when this vote can take place so that my husband and I may be present to testify. This accident was not our fault, and I am asking the city of Hartford to correct this issue. Thank you for your time and concern, and I will look to hear from David Grant as to any follow-up that you may have regarding this accident. I thank you all for allowing me to speak. Have a great day.
You too, Ms. Howard. I'll make sure that our office follows up with you.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Okay. Next to speak is Bernardo Mcmullen.
Hello, my name is Bernardo Mclaughlin. I worked at Real Artways on Arbor Street for 9 years until I was fired last year for pushing back against unsafe working conditions, along with another coworker of mine that also spoke up. I tried pointing out to management that Hartford's average COVID positivity rate had doubled in the 2 weeks following the relaunch of their big monthly party in July called Creative Cocktail Hour. Since we were fired shortly thereafter, they've canceled that super spreader of parties twice now, not as they claim out of concerns for public health, but because of the ongoing staffing crisis caused by a management team that extracts hundreds of thousands of dollars into their personal salaries from the labor of the workers that make little more than minimum wage while working directly with the public during a pandemic. In November, when Real Artways announced their intention to spend $14 million on an expansion, that Greenwich lawyer that bought the mayor's office had the audacity to give his full support to an all suburbanite management team that has illegally cracked down on workers' rights while massively undermining Hartford's public health and the health of our own staff. We have seen no leadership on fighting COVID from the municipal government. Most glaringly, we've seen no interest in holding the entertainment and hospitality industries in Hartford accountable for hosting jam-packed indoor events with not a mask in sight, because to you, Hartford is nothing but a nightlife and a source of cheap labor. Even now, when we know that from the state's data portal that between December 19th and January 1st, the average positivity rate for Hartford proper was an astronomical 30.4%. As someone that's not a lawyer, as someone that works for a living, directly serving the public, as someone that's vaxxed and boosted, that was infected for the first time just a week ago, the only other thing I have to say to the political class at this point is that the days where working people put up with this is coming to a close, because millions of workers and students are realizing that we are on our own and we have to fight the professional managerial class for our lives instead of scapegoating the small minority of our unvaccinated friends and neighbors. And if we have to make a pact amongst ourselves to refuse service to your class of people when you walk up to the counter without a mask, we will. If we have to stage walkouts and against managerial retaliation, we will. And if we have to get organized and strike, I really suggest to any member of the municipal government, do not bother showing up, trying to do that thing you all do where you calm people down, because we know that the job of the Democrats and their junior partners, the so-called Working Families Party, is to steer people into the halls of power where opposition can be commodified and controlled by the litigator class. Don't bother showing up to that picket line, because by that point, you're not going to get a very warm welcome anymore.
Next to speak is Alyssa Peterson.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Alyssa Peterson, Grandview Terrace. Good evening, Council and Council President Rosado. 2022 is shaping up to be a fantastic year for cleaning our political house in Hartford. And within months, I expect to be addressing you as Mayor Rosado. On that 2022 horizon is a major political scandal involving a city contract, former council, our mayor, and state agencies. It's a scandal that, combined with other smaller scandals brewing, some involving current members of this council, that could all grow to change our local political landscape and, unfortunately, also negatively impact the Connecticut governor's race. I've been waiting for all of this to happen for years, and that time has finally come. But in the meantime, I am here to specifically comment on the council committee meeting held December 1st regarding the resolution establishing a not-so-smart group that calls itself SMART. Its ultimate goal is a report that seeks methods by which to close Brainerd Airport. I felt some of the comments made by your members and captured on video were disingenuous and false. It is a fool's errand to pick such an impossible regional battle over a shared state asset when the region's taxpayers and the rest of Connecticut's taxpayers just saved Hartford with a serious bailout. Brainerd Airport is an invaluable asset for both Hartford and the greater Hartford area. A terrific legislative study requested by State Senator Fanfara highlighted the innumerable ways in which the airport benefited public safety and public transportation, as well as ways in which it benefited the region economically. With the help of 2 interns, I previously drafted a comprehensive proposal for one of the recommendations of that legislative study, an airport development zone. Former Councilman Deutsch submitted it for referral to the prior council. However, it was blocked by certain Democrats in the mayor's office. I was very proud of that proposal. Bradley Airport, Groton Airport, and Waterbury-Oxford airports all have airport development zones. I am hoping that with renewed support elsewhere in this city and state, I can finally get that zone approved. It can be a terrific redevelopment tool for the South Meadows area of Hartford versus whatever ludicrous and unknown recreation destination that is now being proposed. Please stay tuned, as I believe that zone will be successful yet. I thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon in the news headlines. Thank you.
Next to speak is Ms. Leslie Hammond. Leslie Hammond, can you hear me? Okay, we will come back to Leslie. Is it Mr. Michael Teeger?
The name is pronounced Tiger. Can you hear me,
Tiger.
Councilwoman?
Yes, yes, we can.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Hartford City Council. My name is Dr. Michael Tiger. I'm a practicing Hartford pulmonologist who's medically certified hundreds of local, private, corporate, and commercial pilots. I'm also a Hartford taxpayer because of the aircraft I keep at Brainerd Airport. I'm speaking tonight on the council's resolution to vote on Brainerd Airport closure. Been disappointed with the language used in news articles, video council meetings, and your published resolutions seeking to close this regional asset and the 3rd busiest commercial airfield in Connecticut. It was just 4 years ago that Hartford was desperate to include area towns in discussion of bankruptcy and massive state taxpayer bailouts. There's been no similar outreach seeking input regarding Brainerd's value to the greater Hartford area. Instead, you seek participation exclusively from those committed to close the airport within 90 days. That deadline is significant, as it apparently coincides with the needs of State Senator John Fanfara, who described some new vision on Brainerd land for a recreation destination in his state finance flyer. A future legislative bill would need a 90-day report in the council vote to further justify any rigged support obtained at the Capitol. This is shocking. Along with a copy of my comments tonight, I will email you Senator Fanfara's own request to the legislature for a nonpartisan study of Brainerd in 2015. A very comprehensive report was later published that reviewed the regional and state benefits that Brainerd provides, including numerous suggestions to improve the airport's economic benefit in Hartford. That report was remarkably in favor of not only keeping Brainerd open, but expanding and enhancing its utility and services to the community. I will forward that as well. Based on that successful study, the Connecticut Airport Authority contracted with its field-based operator and the FAA for another 25 years until 2043. Also included in that study was a drawing representing a failed takeover of land at Brainerd Field and trash burning by Mira, attempted by the Metropolitan District and its chairman, William DeBella. It is the only known published vision of a recreation destination identified by Senator Fanfara. And it is dated 2006 and was created by the now disgraced former state representative, Bob Landino of Dunkin' Donuts Stadium fraud. In our opinion, it is not worth speculating who is behind this latest political scheme to close Brainerd. That will be determined by a growing number of supporters like myself, moving quickly with professional action to preserve this invaluable economic and historic asset for the greater Hartford area. It's a hidden gem, tucked behind the walls of the Hartford Dike system, unseen from the Connecticut River, sitting on already encapsulated contaminated wetlands next to a smelly sewer plant. It should not be lost to the City Council that according to CIA statistics, closure of Brainerd would eliminate 426 jobs as well as $3.36 million in tax revenue. No one was expecting this City Council or our legislature to waste another minute on destroying this proven regional asset. State taxpayers bailed out this city once and continue to pay on these bonds. We are not willing to pay a single dime more to eliminate, of all things, a viable state asset that is critical to public safety, public health, and public transportation.
Mr. Tiger, I am sorry to interrupt you, but your 3 minutes have been up. Please feel free to send that communication to all council members.
I will. And
to be fair for everyone, everyone gets the 3 minutes on public comment. Thank you.
My remarks are over. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Again, I'm coming back to Leslie Hammond. Leslie, perhaps you need to do *6 to unmute yourself since you're calling in. Okay, we'll come back to Leslie. Next to speak.
This is Leslie Hammond. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead, Leslie.
Okay, thank you. Leslie Hammond, 1 Linden Place, Hartford. So a few things. I see on your agenda talking about forgiving some loans. I know one of the loans that the city never really worked with him. He was willing to work with the city and they never did. I don't know about the other loans, but I'm really, really concerned about the way Development Services gives loans, whether there's any analysis about all these huge loans that are given and now they're forgiven because of bankruptcy and so forth. I know with Market 21, that was an incredibly reckless loan, $125,000 that never should have been done. So I hope you all take a minute or two and analyze all those mistakes. I agree that Mira should close, but I haven't heard anything from the city about what is the plan. It's going to cost us a lot more money to now get rid of our garbage, and nobody's talking about it. So we really need to start talking about what the plan is for our garbage and how we're going to pay for it. But meanwhile, now you want to close the airport. I was totally shocked to read about that because I knew about the 2016 report. So I don't know who's behind this or what's going on, but it does not sound good to me at all, and I'm very suspicious. There are so many businesses there that hire Hartford workers. There's maintenance schools, there's organ donations that come through that airport, and I haven't heard the council do anything about telling us what's going on with that airport. Instead, it's again grandstanding and wanting to close it. As far as development in the North End, I know there's a proposal, something about racism, and of course we know that that has affected that particular area greatly, but I want to see some action. I know there's a group that wanted to do veterans housing at 2 Holcomb, and it seems that Development Services has a deaf ear, and now a few groups want to do something at 80 Coventry. I know that area really well. I was based there for a long time with a tutoring program with my husband, Ned, at 2 Holcomb. And because of the greenery and the space and all the other services that are up there, it's a perfect place to have more services, just like Blue Hills Civic is talking about. I'm really, really concerned that there's a huge disconnect with Development Services with these North End groups. I'm not sure why or what's going on, but it feels to me that there's not a real respect for what the people in the North End want. And it seems that the City Development Services are doing what they want, or maybe their particular developers want. Thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you, Leslie. Next to speak is Angela Harris.
Good evening, members of the Court of Common Council. This is Angela Harris, a resident, but this evening coming to you as the North Hartford Promise Zone NRZ resident liaison for the Health and Wellness Initiative. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the North Hartford collaborative that is trying to establish a public and private partnership to redevelop several vacant properties in North Hartford. We're looking to provide economic development, training, entrepreneurship, and education opportunities for residents of North Hartford. I come to remind you that the North Hartford Promise Zone designation was provided by the United States Housing and Urban Development back in 2015. And that was a 10-year designation that runs through 2025. It is now 2022. And the disinvestment in North Hartford has been longstanding, and we are running out of opportunities for investments that can take advantage of this designation. I call your attention to the resolution that was tabled for tonight's meeting, that you would take time to review it and be prepared to support it when it comes before you at the next council meeting. I would ask that you give us the opportunity to not lose out on funding that might be coming down from the current administration, whether it be federal, state, or private financing opportunities. This not only is an economic development issue, it is also an environmental justice issue. Many of these properties are in need of remediation. They're in proximity to our seniors. The North End Senior Center is adjacent, shares walls with the old Bergdorf building. And it also is in neighborhoods where our seniors live, where we have mothers with children living next door. We need to have these buildings put back to proper use. And the Simpson Waverly School is adjacent to community housing, subsidized housing, and it needs to be available for the community to use to further its goals and our priorities. So I'd ask that the City Council be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I thank you for your attention, and we look forward to working with you all as we move forward in making this happen. Thank you.
Next to speak is Cheryl Banks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Banks. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. I'm speaking for the individuals that I serve, our youth, our mothers, our grandmothers in the city of Hartford, and as a stakeholder that works in the Hartford North End. I asked the City Council to adopt the resolution in February to address deteriorated properties in North Hartford and repurpose them so that we can experience more training and employment opportunities, affordable housing, increased education equity, as well as decrease in the wealth gap that currently exists. We're asking the City of Hartford help who are the owners of the buildings in need of environmental remediation, such as Simpson Waverly School, 55 Waverly Street, Old Bergdorf Clinic on 80 Coventry Street, and others. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next to speak is Dr. Larry Deutsch.
Well, greetings to all. And first of all, one should say a Happy New Year. And hopefully the coming year will be happier for many people than the past year, in which we were beset by disease. And I do hope that everyone, first and foremost, to say wears their masks carefully in all situations. And then with this new year, I thank goodness for a new council member, attorney and councilwoman Hercules, who I hope all on the council welcome and embrace, not only a majority viewpoint, but a minority viewpoint, which really are all together in terms of Build Back Better in Hartford and the whole country. So I think we should be glad to see some younger blood than my own coming onto council with a nice welcome. And it happens that just this last week, there was a passing of Alani Guinier, a very prominent young woman lawyer, African-American lawyer, who wrote a book called The Tyranny of the Majority, hoping that there would be a coming together of the minds, minorities and majorities, in a constructive way. I think we face a very difficult upcoming year, including some Republican or Trump-style opposition to adequate voting. The voter suppression we should all take seriously, even though Connecticut, fortunately, is ahead of some other states. I would say one thing on the agenda is a good contract with the union at the hotel, however that turns out, at the Hilton Hotel, so that workers are paid decently, as well as now welcoming some visitors. I would also like to add this discussion on the airport. I hope the council and people of Hartford, all of us, don't throw away the asset of an airport which could help with trade with the Caribbean. As we've heard, there can be organ donations flown from as far away as Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and so on. The airport can serve a very positive function, even though the land under it is not suitable for housing, really, or businesses. Finally, again, I would say with those positive words, and close, if I dare, as Lester Holt does on his program, be safe and take care of yourself and each other in that way. So I thank you and wish everyone well and good participation in the city affairs this way.
Thank you. It's nice to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Next to speak is Kelvin Lovejoy.
Good evening. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Brother Kelvin X. Lovejoy. I'm a resident, taxpayer, youth, family, and community advocate in the city of Hartford. I'm here this evening to speak about economic development in North Hartford. And I really want to thank the council members in advance of their support for these decisions to move forward with economic development in our community. What am I referring to? Well, first of all, that North Hartford has experienced disinvestment for a significant period of time, resulting in deteriorated properties like the one across the street from me at Clark Elementary School, and the one around the corner from me at Waverly Elementary School, and then the one even further around the corner at 80 Coventry Street. These properties, these deteriorated properties, have negatively impacted families, community in which I live. We also see that the city of Hartford is the owner of these buildings that are in need of environmental remediation and really money that needs to be put into our community to help young people like we have here at Weaver High School. Every year, we work with over 1,000 young people and families in the city of Hartford, 400 in the summer in terms of summer youth employment, which puts money, which builds the economic foundation for families in our community. Why is it that we have to have buildings empty that could be used to help these families, help community, and most of all, help our young people? Facts. The collective body, as I understand it, has come together to seek support from our mayor, from our city council, to develop Waverly, to develop 80 Coventry Street. It is a foregone conclusion, and we believe that you, the city council, will step up and do the right thing. That no matter what amount of political pressure from the right or left, we know that our city council will do the right thing. It's detrimental to take from the children. It's detrimental to take from families. It's detrimental to take from community. We come on for this public announcement to say thank you, City Council, in advance for your support of this resolution. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak is Reagan Byrd.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay. Hi, my name is Reagan Byrd. I am a resident on Enfield Street of Hartford, Connecticut. I just wanted to let everyone know that I am in full support of this resolution. I feel that this is a move that could empower our community, could lessen the crime rates, could take a little bit of pressure off the youth and give places and opportunities for the youth where they can thrive and be positive, productive people in society instead of falling into the community traps, the bad traps. We don't want them to fall into the influence of the community. So we want to be able to give them places like Blue Hill Civic and have them expand and give them the youth the opportunity to thrive. Ooh.
Yes. Okay. Next to speak is Parishi Smith.
Yeah, my name is Parrish Smith, community organizer and lifelong resident of the Northeast neighborhood of Hartford. Wanted to talk about the resolution that y'all more than likely be getting next month. That is going to address blighted and contaminated buildings in the North Hartford owned by the city and turning them into places that offer more training and employment opportunities, creating more affordable housing and offering creative and trauma-informed ways to address educational inequities. I ask that the City Council support this resolution as it would be a huge step in the right direction of overcoming a huge problem with economic development in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other members that have not been called on the screen? Do we have any other members that have not been called who wish to address this council body that have not been called? So everyone on the screen has been called, and I'll say it one more time. Is there anyone that has not been addressed by council or has not yet spoken? Going once, going twice. The third's the charm. Thank you everyone for your comments, and we will see you shortly at our regular schedule council meeting. I want to thank the members on the screen for participating and being with us this evening. Thank you, and Happy New Year's to all. Good night.